I'm happy to be back with the yellow jersey, and this is motivate me more.
Nice big vertical turn from Italo. Lofty backhand float.
Italo Ferreira, you know what he's looking for. There it is, lightning quick.
Just thinking positive and think that I can do anything in any condition. So yeah, I think I'm ready for this challenge.
World number 1, Italo Ferreira takes on Connor Coffin here in the round of 16 in heat number 5, and there's been some drama. Morgan Siblick does it again. The last time a surfer took out a guy like John in back-to-back events was Kai Ubeli when John was going through his first world title run. There was the year Mikey Wright got him twice, but it was not in consecutive events. Things are turning upside down on the leaderboard. Connor's going to get a quick start against Italo. Power hack the first section, unloads that turn, but couldn't hang on. That was the start he really needed to try to get some sort of jump on Italo. 1 point right there. Now Ferreira with priority. Joe Turpel with Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, the 78 world champ, and still on the Boost Mobile Stay Connected call, our good friend and a world champion of a human being and a surfer, Barton Lynch. BL, things are completely changing this year on what you expect in a title race. We've got new names stepping up like Morgan Siblick, and now we transition into Italo Ferreira. The form that he's been in, I know something you've always loved about Italo was the energy and the joy that he brings from riding away from 1 foot to double overhead, but it feels like he's pushed that message even further this season.
Oh, without doubt. And I noticed when we saw the quarantine clips on Instagram, the stuff that he was doing physically was beyond what anyone else could do, and he was not only leading in the water, he was leading in quarantine. And then he came out of quarantine and it's just been blowing up ever since. And I think in that little preamble from him before the heat where he said he knows that he can do anything anywhere. He literally can do things on a wave from places and parts of the wave that no one else in the world can match. Other people need to line it up, set it up, and have it all go perfectly right to achieve it. Italo can just make it happen from anywhere at any time, and it's the Jenga, as they say in the soccer. You know, Pelé, they used to talk about the great Pelé, and he had the Jenga, and that's that magic, and Italo's definitely got that.
Oh, I'm feeling you on that one, BL. It's the magic about him, the belief that he has with him, and Rabbit wasn't just, it wasn't overnight. I mean, we saw him as an exciting rookie with success, but it took him a few years before he figured out how to win, and he truly does feel unstoppable now.
Oh, he's just coming to his own. I mean, the confidence, he's walking in the shoes of a world champion, and he feels like he belongs, and that's number 1.
Amazing to see the form that he's been in, and now the world title kind of changing. It was all about the John story, a winning pipeline. And I was sitting there with you, BL, on the North Shore when it just felt it made sense. John was healthy, he's back, reclaiming world number 1. I don't think anyone expected him to be in the situation he is now with back-to-back results that he's not happy about here in Australia.
It's going to be a tough one. I mean, luckily he's going to Margaret River, where he's had such success in the past, and to the west. So that'll be something to look forward to, in an environment that most probably suits his personality a little more than what Sydney has to date on Newcastle.
And Barton, you know, I've done my own the bugs calculations, and because now we're looking at the final 5. You know, there's two scales. One is requalification. The round of 16, and 9th place traditionally is great for requalifying. Not so much for the final 5. However, I kind of think like that a 9th could be offset. The only way to offset a 9th is that first place, because then you're getting that 10,000. They've got the extra boost in points for that 10,000, and there's a bigger difference now as you peel down the line. And sort of a 1st and a 9th kind of, it nearly comes out like a 2nd and a 5th.
Yeah. I'm loving the math there as Italo's winding up. There's the big full rotation, but somehow he doesn't pull it off. That thing was so high. We just saw the air recently from Medina in the 9 range for a gigantic punt on a similar section. I felt like he already had it and then ended up laying back, didn't recover, and Connor Coffin breathes a sigh of relief, because that would have been a 9 at least, BL.
Absolutely, the height, it was super lofty, and knowing him and knowing that ability to recover, I thought he was going to make it. We'll have a look here on the replay, pumping and just calmly waiting for the moment. He knows it's coming, flies into the air, and really, I suppose that's an uncharacteristic sort of unmake for him, because we've seen him, maybe it was the height and that centrifugal force of that rotation. As we watch it here, Rab flies to the air, and you can see he's just rotating so fast. The head's leading and came from so high up and looked like he had it. Just that little layback. He ordinarily makes those, and perhaps the pressure of the moment getting to him.
Well, I mean, the one thing about Italo so far has been there's been no pressure of any moment that's got to him, because he'll just go back out again and he'll have another 3 or 4 attempts at that. But, I mean, and the thing about, as you know well with North Narrabeen, Barton, you get these collision of the two sections, you know, that left usually coming towards you with the foam ball, and you're coming towards it, and there's that clash of the two swells. On that occasion, it just looks like he did mistime and he laid back. It didn't look like it didn't look like the white water was a factor.
No, it didn't look that strong or powerful or disturbing to him, but you know, it's a big situation. You find yourself coming after a win, you know, in the previous event. He's looked so sort of unflappable to date, but that, I've got to say, that was one I kind of expect. He did all the hard work, and it was just that last little component that things didn't stick, but he sees another one here.
And now he's starting to fish for another opportunity. That one won't let him in. He knows he missed what would have been a massive start. He's been using that full rote on his back end to great effect, not just this year, but throughout his career, especially that world title run that he was on in 2019. He's so effective in the round of 16, as he's had 9 consecutive wins when he's in this round, as he just continues to heat up. As we draw on the leaderboard, that big shaded name, John Florence, dropped to world number 3 after Siblick beat him at Newcastle. He could be dropping again because Kanoa is still involved in this event. Jordy Smith is still running in this event, and Siblick once again finds himself in the quarterfinals. What a dream for a kid from Merriweather, and the rookie on tour has kind of changed everybody's thought now, Barton, in the Rookie of the Year race, where Jack Robinson was kind of the front runner, and for good reason at the time for what Jack's accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack's, you know, he would have gone into the year as a favourite, and someone that the top seeds were concerned about and wouldn't wanted to have drawn. But Morgan, he's that underdog that no one really saw coming and didn't see and expect. Look, here we go. Look at the distance between Connor and Italo. He created this opportunity under priority.
Italo, big hack there. A lot of power off that lip line. Now he's got a section to chuck the tail, incomplete, which is keeping things very interesting. I felt like he started quick in the heat with Fanning, where he did 2 big rotators and then basically sat on Mick with 10 minutes to go. This one's staying wide open. And with Connor, Barton, I think about how he's played spoiler role in the past. Specifically John's first world title. You know, all the attention was on the world title moment, all the heavyweight names, and he knocked out Jordy Smith, made the final that day. How do you think he handles playing what would be the underdog role on the championship, or when all the momentum and the cheers on the beach are for world number 1?
Well, I think, you know, if you go into this heat as Connor Coffin, your focus is on getting the best waves. You know you've got to get the best waves. Italo doesn't really need, he isn't in that situation. He doesn't need to get the best waves. He just needs a good ramp, a nice big open face, and he can turn a 2 into a 10, which is an asset that not many people have. Connor, on the other hand, he would be sort of banking, and we can see that in his use of the priority. He's got his priority, he knows what he wants, he knows where he needs to be to get it, and he's sitting and waiting and trying to pay no attention to what Italo's doing, and Italo's just, oh, that's not the sort of wave you want, though, with the priority. And Italo's just frothing around the lineup, just catching everything, moving and creating opportunity, and that tends to make you nervous when you're sitting there with the priority.
Connor rolling in now. He's got some face to work with. Deep bottom turn, beautiful carve to start. Rips that cutty back in the pocket again. The Californian still swinging off the lip, keeping his composure for the finish. And with the title race, he helped John with that first world title as a spoiler. And, you know, it would help John out a lot right now if he could slow down the momentum of Ferreira, because at the moment it seems almost impossible. Great surfing there from Connor. Rabbit, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was great surfing. I don't think it's going to be enough. I thought Connor, on that very first wave, it was a really good looking wave. We'll see the replay on the second one. This first turn's really sharp. Then the wave seems to just go a little flat, and these aren't really big scoring maneuvers here. And then he goes a bit early, and you know, it's nice, it's solid. It's just a solid ride. Whether it's going to be a keeper in the end against Italo is questionable, but it's nice to have in his kit right now. I did think that first turn is really slick.
There's that backhand carve, and I was quoting you earlier, Biel, a conversation I had with you at Manly years back, where it's the idea of these waves that line up and they're dreamy, and as a natural surfer, you'd think those are the waves you want to catch, a TP with a clean line, but then in a heat, you're actually like, wait, the closeouts are actually giving you more scores. And I think Italo has done really well at just one maneuver sections, two turn combos, because the judges eat up those critical sections out the back.
Yeah, that has been one of the big changes in competitive surfing in you know, the past decade, 5 to 10 years, is the need for it to be super critical, and the need for it to be, doesn't need to have that length. It doesn't need to be the best wave in the heat. It just needs to be a critical section. And the best wave, that wave that Connor picked, would most probably be one of the waves as a free surfer you would pick, because it's got the most length, nice taper to the wall. But in a heat these days, it's all about the punctuation and the size of that one move, and it can be a single move, doesn't even need to be two, as we saw with Gabriel Medina. So it's a different type of surfing, a different type of wave that you're looking for in the modern day, and it's very different. It's sort of counter to what you would do as a free surfer. So it is an interesting thing, but that's where the excitement comes from, is those type of waves with that type of face and commitment in the turn.
And Barton, I think on going back to Connor's very, very first wave, he really did that massive big turn on the, you know, it's nearly like he was, you know, watching Morgan Siblik and going, well, if I can go that big, and it was a really good looking wave. That was a critical turn. If he'd pulled that one off and on that wave, I think that wave would have given him a big score. But he's got a 5. He's got a 5 right there. Italo yet to really make his mark in this heat. We're into the second half of the heat, so this is the first time Italo has actually been, you know, basically scoreless.
Look at this wedge now setting up for Connor. Big hammer right there on the back end. Patiently waits to blow the tail out with control, and then climbs the following section. Little behind on the third, but the first two are brilliant to back up the 5.0. And I think Connor, being a student of the game, working closely with Micro and watching Siblik pull off another big underdog performance. The scores Morgan got from big blowtails out the back, Connor's probably feeling, hey, I could do the same thing, Barton.
Well, that's got to be better than the 5, you would think, Rab. I think that was a better wave. It was more critical. It looked a little more fluid. And that's here. We see it on the replay. He drops in here, drives off the bottom. That first snap's beautiful and clean. There's a little moment at the bottom, but he times it beautifully into that third turn. And that's sort of inconsequential, that third turn. But the fact that he didn't fall added something to it. And his first 2 turns are going to give him, you know, the best points he's had. And he's going to start building pressure on Italo, because Italo's had nothing, and now he's sort of had that 5 and maybe something a little bit higher than the 5, maybe a 6, whatever, and Italo's still sitting. So a great situation, a great little turnaround of momentum, because while Italo was going to the air, it felt like he was on fire, but he hadn't got a score yet.
And Barton, I mean, it's exactly what you spoke about before. That was the wave. It wasn't a set wave, but it just had those vertical pockets, and he did increase. He got a 5, 6, 7. So it's good for him to have 2 waves under, you know, that could be keepers in the end. I mean, Italo, this is incredibly long time for Italo to get going in this heat. That it's quite mind-blowing, really.
It feels like that first half of the heat just flew by. It didn't even. When you said the time, Joey, I was like, "What? That can't be right." So you know, that's what happens.
It's crazy, because I know, Barton, you probably saw what happened earlier to Toledo when he was left waiting for a start against Federico. And obviously, the broken board just made it even harder to come back. He put himself back in the heat in the final minutes, but a slow start has been tough to recover today. Italo in motion now. First snap, driving into a fun pocket section for a beautiful open face hook. And then slams on the end section, and he nods going, that was it. He's feeling the momentum, trying to break down an 8.6 to come back here.
Well, he'll do it in 2 bites, but this wave, that second maneuver, when we see this one in slow motion, it's going to be just a stonker.
So Italo finally firing. Barton, I want to get your take on this wave. Clearly his best of the heat with 11 minutes to go now.
Yeah, as he drops in and gets that first nice little tail whip wrench. And this is the turn Rab was talking about. Just a beautiful driving snap. So tight, so powerful. Lovely third turn. And that was exactly what he needed to do. A fall there and some other compounding of pressure in this moment would have been disastrous. But he surfed it confidently, surfed it aggressively, but with a controlled fashion, and banked the score exactly what he needed to do, and exactly like the champs do when the pressure's on.
And his tempo was solid from the blowtail into this power gouge. That was really meaty right there. And then also had the finish. So he was feeling it. And I love how he's mixing it up. Not going for big full rotators. 3 big aggressive moves from Italo Ferreira.
You can see this wave after the first maneuver. There's a little pocket that moves sideways, and he just times it so perfectly.
And that was great to see. So Italo crawling back into this heat. They'll make those comparisons to the 5s of Connor. As we wait for that score, well, thank you so much, BL. It's been a pleasure catching up with you and seeing your face. We're going to do this a lot, my friend, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I will do, mate. It's nearly night here, so I'm going to head off and watch a few heats and go to bed.
Well done. Always good to catch up with the 88 world champ Barton Lynch on the Boost Mobile Stay Connected call.
See you, BL. Interesting, Joe. I mean, Italo got a 5, 6, 7.
Very interesting. I was expecting a bit more from the variety that he had. We'll dive into those comparisons on those top numbers from Connor and Italo. Coffin still out front. Will we see another big upset? What a day it's been here in the round of 16 at the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic presented by Corona. The quarterfinals are getting mixed up quickly with big upsets happening in the round. Throw tail reverse start for Italo Ferreira into a wrapping cutback. Drives in that front side turn, ditches the fins. Remind me of that little cut back to throw tail that Corey Lopez used to lock in on tour back in the day. He's trying to explode to get that rhythm in this heat. Tied on the best score with Connor's 5, 6, 7. Luke Egan on hand watching that unfold. Luke, what was your opinion on those top scores?
Joe, I really think that Italo was hard done by on that last score. I thought mid 6, maybe 7. That second turn was so tight and so crucial, and I just think that the judges missed that a little bit. I think it should have been a little bit more, and that's something different. We don't see it all the time from Italo, and that was a power hack from, you know, like what you see Oki do. You know, it's like, you know, he's brought out something different, and the judges, I think, just missed that a little bit. I was very impressed with that turn, and I thought that score should have been a little bit more.
Thank you, Luke Egan. Italo put a lot into that, and it sometimes begs the question, is it just harder to get a big score on your forehand? Throwing all that variety. Well, Italo's inspired now, just punches off the lip, and you knew this was coming. The Whitewater's tackling him on the landing, and we know how critical the panel's been on riding away clean. We'll have to take another look. Connor almost looked like he had a little ramp setting up for him. You can tell just in their stance as they're preparing for those big wedges. Superheat still underway. Let's catch up with one of the legends of the sport. Tommy Carroll's with Stace.
Absolutely, Joe. One of the legends of the sports and one of the nicest blokes you could ever meet. Tommy, we were up there before in the VIP area, and you said you wanted to come down and get 2 meters away from the action for exactly that reason. How cool was that?
That was just beautiful Italo, wasn't it? Just straight out of the flats. But you got to train for that stuff. That's hardcore.
You reckon those legs could handle that kind of impact?
I don't know about today. I think, you know, the consequences today are just horrendous. They just snap your ankles and they're done for years.
Absolutely. You must be so stoked to have professional surfing back in the northern beaches of Sydney.
Oh, it's so good. Just the vibe. Everyone's so ready for this. You know, and even the kids have never seen anything like it around here. So for me, I just took it for granted when I was a kid. It sort of came to my town, it was just like this. But for these guys and the kids that are all Newport guys behind me and girls, and just to see their level of just froth just rising, it's just beautiful.
It is, it's amazing. Anyone trying to tap into your local knowledge, mate? I've seen you out there with a few of the surfers. Are you kind of whispering in anyone's ear?
We'll have had a couple of chats, you know, just talking about the lineup. It is tricky, but the movement from the main peak over to the end here was super valuable for me to get those wider ones. The lefts particularly I was looking for back in the day. I'd always sneak down and get a good score down the end here, but start off at the top. But that was, you know, you had to move around with conditions, but generally I remember getting really good scores down the end here.
You got a favourite to take this thing out on the men's side?
The men's side, I don't know, Morgan Siblick's doing pretty damn good, isn't he?
He's looking really gnarly.
I don't know, I always go for the freshy.
Here goes your boy Italo.
But I love Italo. Look what he's about to do. I mean, yes, he got the big floater. Yeah. I mean, Italo is so exciting. And then you've got, you know, Gabe, who just set a benchmark in his heat. And so if they're going tit for tat in their head, so let's see what happens. I can't, as the waves, I'm praying they improve. They can have a small performance, but all the girls, you know, Jean Defay yesterday, Courtney Conlog's done really well. I mean, the level of surfing coming from both sides, I can't wait to see how this event turns out.
Absolutely. These last few minutes are going to be super exciting. I'll let you enjoy them with the young crew you got down here. Send it back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks.
Thank you, Stace, and thank you. Two-time world champ Tommy Carroll, one of the best to compete at Pipeline as well. Also won this event at Narrabeen as a previous event champ. Crazy. Just an update on the big backside rotator, Rabbit.
Radical call here. A complete incomplete. I mean, they just said no, and it's a 1.77. Italo was going, I landed on the flats. I mean, to me, I watched this, I know it's critical, but I watched this, and I'll tell you at the moment, like right there and there, I reckon, to me, that's complete.
And right here, this is when it makes it really challenging for him to continue with control. So I'm with you, Rabbit. He stomps it, he's in control, but then the Whitewater knocks him down. And Italo's showing, hey, I had it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my call. That's certainly his call. And, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cruel score, a 1.77, and as opposed to what, like an 8.5?
Well, and also it's the lead. He would have had the lead by miles.
This is radical.
That was a massive full rotation, and now Connor has 2 minutes to try to sit on him with priority.
So he got a 5.67 on that. The next one he got a 4.33. The big float he got a 3.47, and he is trailing Connor Coffin. And Connor's just got that the 5.67 and the 5, and he's just been really selective. And he's in the lead. This is a really radical outcome in this heat. It's I'm not saying it's controversial. I'm just saying it's radical.
Well, it might be a great debate point because the landing was pretty solid, and then just the whitewater mowed him down.
Oh, gosh.
And they want to see you right away with control. Here's Italo. Quick snap off the roof. Punches the fins out. Somehow got away from Connor.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Give us the score.
Well, he's still got 90 seconds. Let's see him just power out the back again. So was that enough, needing a 5.0?
A 5.0. Well, look, it was undoubtedly a complete. There's no doubt about that one.
Oh, yeah.
He even got complete to the point where he gave himself a score.
Well, it's interesting with the first air that he had on that just dream air wedge. I mean, for Italo, that opening exchange, he know that would have been close to a 9, and he landed it, but he definitely fell off the back of it.
Oh, yeah.
And then the close decision on his favorite move, the big full spin, where he stomps it and get modes over. I mean, if you're wondering if anything could stop his momentum, it's going to be those close decisions just not going his way. Last score still waiting to come in for Italo, chasing the 5.0.
Yeah, we'll see that wave again, I'm sure. It's going to be an interesting score. Absolutely. There's 35 seconds remaining. I think Connor might see one more opportunity. He's been so selective.
And he's so sharp with the big names on tour. I mean, they've had 2 heats before. They're 1 apiece, so Connor already's beat him in the past. But now down to 19 seconds. Italo has been on such a hot streak, winning up at Merriweather, getting his yellow jersey back.
One judge says no. One judge says yes.
Split decision. There's still 5 seconds. Connor's going to throw a huge fan of spray to the sky and crushes the end section at the buzzer. Italo falls off the roof and falls down on his final wave.
Well, a wild little finish to this because there's 2 judges have said yes for Italo. Now, we know Connor got another wave too, but let's see this situation first. It's a bit like the Toledo Moraes situation.
That's right, Rabbit. Well, this is the wave for Italo that he caught previous, the running left, that he stayed on his feet.
2 down, 2 up. 2, this final judge's score.
And it ended up landing right on the number.
He got it.
The 5. So look, it was a tie break.
Oh no, but look, Connor needs a 4 point. No, how could he need a 4.34? He's already got 2 scores in the 5s.
Well, right there, we've got an interesting tie break. They have the same numbers, not just their high score, but their low score as well.
Oh, that is unbelievable.
So now it's going to your 3rd highest score, and Connor is left chasing a 4.34, 2 big hammers. And Connor gets the lead back on his last wave, a 5.8 on the buzzer. Connor's had so many heats like that. We'll send it down to Stace.
Yeah, we're listening, boys. Silence is the best.
Oh, shit. Fuck, no way. Oh, that's so cool.
Back and forth. He got it on the wave prior. You just both rode the wave at the end. He went incomplete. You bet it up the top.
Oh, my God.
That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I'm kind of in shock. Are we talking to those people up there? Oh, okay. Yeah, wow. What a heat. It was like such a weird heat. Italo had like the biggest air section ever. I watched him pound that thing just going, well, that's right at 10. And I heard the beach go nuts, and he didn't make it. And then, God, that wave at the end was so small. I knew like I wasn't going to better a 5, so I let him go, and he, of course, got it, but so it worked out. I got that one, just willed one to come at the end.
Well done, mate. Well, we got a commercial break. We quickly got to jump to. We're going to get you on the glass, and we're really going to break that one down. Thanks, Connor. Thank you.
What a matchup. Another huge upset and a broken board in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. Connor into the quarterfinals and #1 in the world out of the event here in Narrabeen. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic presented by Corona. We've had a little bit of time to digest what just went down. Connor, you've debriefed it with Crow and Ace. Pretty intense little battle there. Can you make sense of it all now?
Yeah, well, I guess we were perfectly tied, which I didn't even know. I didn't even hear when I stood up on that last wave. I was just like, I got to get myself on something. But apparently if I got better than a 4.33, I won, and I got a 5.83, so that's even better. But yeah, I can't believe it was just another grindy heat. And I mean, Italo in onshore lefts and air wind rights, I was like, all right, I got my work cut out for me, and overcooked my first wave, and I just was really slow. Like, I watched Morgs just blow up in that heat and have so many sick waves that I was frothing to get out there and get some of those big lefts, and I don't think there was one the whole heat. So yeah, just thank you to the ocean and Mother Nature for sending that last wave. I've had a few of those, and yeah, loving those. Thank you.
They must be nice to ride,
yeah.
Especially when you need one. How important is it to really stick to your own game plan? I mean, you hear people talk about it all the time, but it's quite easy to get rattled when you see someone going 10 foot above the lip every ride. How do you keep your composure?
Gosh, I mean, it's like another sport almost. Like, I was laughing before the heat because I don't think you could have two more polar opposite approaches to a heat than Italo and I just had. Like, he's slamming Red Bulls. I'm like kind of sitting there, like my parents are like, are you awake? When I talk to him at the apartment, like, make sure you get fired up. But yeah, just try to have that kind of more relaxed, like concise approach and make smart decisions. And I know he's just going to whirlwind and do what he does. And if he stomps two crazy airs, so be it. You know, I can't match him there. So just have to stick to my guns and try to get the right waves and do big turns. And yeah, the judges were rewarding Morgan, so I felt confident in my plan. I was psyched.
Awesome. You certainly executed that plan really well. Best of luck for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And hi to everyone at home and my family. Love you guys, all the boys. Woo.
Another incredible moment for Connor Coffin in his stellar career. This is the first time he's ever had back-to-back quarterfinals since he's been on tour. To go 2 in a row, and he's hoping to get out of that next quarterfinal, and he keeps on pulling off buzzer beaters. When I saw him last night, he said, I keep getting these heats that are decided on the last wave, and nothing more dramatic than that. We talk about tie breaks a lot. It's very rare that their top 2 scores were actually the same. And so he was left chasing that 4-ranger because then it was going to a 3rd wave. He outdid that as well, ended up turning his best on his last. And we saw the devastation from Italo stopping his roll. He had 2 close calls on big airs. The first one he fell off. Second one he got mowed by the whitewater, showing he was out of control to right away. And now the title race just got even more interesting. Number 1 and 3 in the world out. And now Medina could be in the driver's seat here, Bugs.
Oh yeah, this is classic professional surfing. I mean, you know, Connor's really backed himself. I mean, he has got an incredible backhand. He watched Morgan Siblik, and he was, as he said, he was pumped. He got that first big wave and sort of overcooked it on the first turn. But then the last wave, I mean, you know, when you are getting used to buzzer beaters, you keep your cool, and that was his best ride, a 5.8. When we saw that he only needed a 4.34, I mean, it was over. I mean, he was definitely going to get that.
Oh, his family was up over there in California in the 805 region. Rich, Krista, his younger brother Parker Coffin. Big hi to the Latinsky family who grew up and down the California coast with Connor. Everyone staying up super late to watch that heat unfold.
And you know what? That's the way a world champion can leave the beach too sometimes. I mean, I had this incredible flashback to this quarterfinal I had in the Gunston 500 with Mark Price, this great young surfer from South Africa, and I left the beach the same way.
Oh, no. And it was probably a little harder to break your board back then.
Yeah, I mean, it was just with the same vibe, you know, like just so angry.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, the whole you know, everything that conspired against it, you know.
As we watch this one continue, Jack Robinson, Kanoa Igarashi. It's always crazy for a heat after a huge upset in the title race, as they know they still have a heat on with all the commotion on the beach. Igarashi and Jack have never had a heat together on the CT, and obviously Jack is a young rookie and Kanoa's had a few years behind him now, but they have had heats over at the Vans World Cup at Sunset Beach in the Triple Crown.
Oh,
Jack's won a couple of those over Kanoa in the past.
Oh, this is just an awesome matchup. Now, Jack Robinson, Kanoa Igarashi, yes.
It's interesting because they've known each other since they're probably about 10, 11, 12. The crew is kind of Kanoa, Jack. You'd put Leo in there, Mikey Wright. It was like these little kids that were just bred to be where they are today.
Oh, they sure. Yeah, both were completely. You know, they've both been groomed for, for this career, and here they are, head to head, and they're so aware of each other.
They're just dreaming of these heats on the top stage as Robinson shuts that one down on his backhand. Big rooftop float and stayed in total control. That's his best wave so far against Igarashi with 21:50 on the clock.
Just going back to that last seat, I mean, Luke Egan pointed out to me, I am very generous on the completions, but obviously the judges see a lot more of it than I do. I just love it.
Right, because
the whole theatre of the whole thing is unbelievable. I thought he'd completed the manoeuvre, but when you said he got mowed down by that whitewater, they were still calling, no, it's not complete.
Yeah, I guess they always like to have you ride out with control. Luke Egan, what's your take on that call for incomplete?
Yeah, Joe, it's a tough one. I really would like to see it in real time. I only caught the replay in slow motion, so I'd like to see it again in real time, but I thought it was complete. I thought he stomped it, and then the whitewater just had more speed than him, so it took over him. But look, taking nothing away from Connor's performance, so he's some great backhand surfing. I already said earlier in the heat, I thought the power hack, the tail wafter power hack was underscored. So before we even got to the aerial, I thought there was a little bit in it before then. So unfortunate heat, like you can't win them all. Italo's been on an incredible roll, and I just hope this one doesn't break him too much, because he's just got to put his, it happens. All these guys are good. You're going to lose a couple.
That's a good call, Louis, because, I mean, he does everything at 100%. We've been enjoying that. That's why he's such an entertainer. And he, loses at 100%. He still had all that passion and energy he put into that heat. He wasn't planning on losing. And I know, Luke, you really like the way that board looked. Hopefully he's got a deep quiver of magic boards to go to now.
That was a beautiful little 5-6 epoxy where we saw him yesterday just complete some incredible maneuvers on, but it's in two pieces. So unfortunately, yeah, your temper gets the better of you, and I saw Italo jump on it and snap it in half, but he's so passionate. He just wants to win. He wants to win at any cost. He's been training his butt off to just win in any conditions, and it's unfortunate. I just hope he keeps his chin up, and sometimes it happens.
Thank you, Louis. Let's go back to this call. We're going to be kind of referencing this air for a while. There's the landing, and then the whitewater just caught up to him when he lost his speed in the flats, Bugs.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's a tale of two moments, really. It's the landing and flush landing, and then the whitewater mowing him down. And then afterwards he comes in, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, that board was going so good.
That's real.
That terrible feeling of a loss when you know you're in form and probably feeling like you should have got the score on that big air in the flats. A tough one for world number one to deal with.
Yeah, I remember my situation. We didn't have the locker rooms back then, but mine was more public, and I remember standing outside the tower just yelling at the judges. It was, it was in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. A discussion.
Oh, yeah.
You're such a gentleman, though, Bugs.
But the actual commentator at the time was talking back to me, but
over the mic.
Over the mic. It was so classic.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a crazy run in this round. Once again, Morgan goes back-to-back over John. Connor is now 2-1 over Italo in his career. And the scores are almost exactly the same. And Ferrer will now have to head over to the west and surf Margaret River and Rottnest Island. That broke his 9 straight win streak that he had going in the round of 16. And we know how close Medina's been to getting a big win this year. Finaled at Pipeline, finaled at Newcastle. And he's in the quarterfinals. So looking to capitalize on some room on the leaderboard. 17:35 to go. Kanoa Igarashi still just needs a 1:07. This one starting off with some small numbers. Finaled at the Pipe Masters as a rookie on tour. Won his first event at Karamas in Indonesia over Jeremy Flores, which put him up to that top 5 picture. An absolute celebrity in Japan. See him on billboards there through Tokyo. Goes there for business trips these days and for surfs, with all attention on Tokyo for the Olympics this summer.
And completely different strategies in this heat. Kanoa right up the point. We saw him paddle for a wave earlier and kind of he kind of threw himself over the falls. It was this kind of salubrious moment where he was all enveloped in the whitewater. It was kind of weird, but no harm done.
Quick up and out for Igarashi. Kanoa's got a younger brother coming up through the ranks, Keanu, who wants to join him on tour someday soon.
Yeah, I mean, Kanoa and Keanu, they came to like Snapper when they were just little kids. And, you know, when I first saw him, I saw flashes of Tom Curran in his surfing, Kanoa, when he was a young, you know, when he was like 12. And he was just so determined, and you know, he always wanted to be a pro surfer.
And he was able to win so early and so young. He kind of graduated from all the goals of winning NSSA titles. He was already on the road, surfing world-class locations with Jack Robinson. Qualified before Jack, and Robinson was able to get some big results to finally get there. And I love how Jack has built his reputation up beyond slabs and crazy waves like Pipe and the box and beyond, and shows how versatile he is at every location on the North Shore, from Haleiwa to Pipe and Sunset Beach.
Yeah, I think the conversation regarding Jack Robinson and the rookie year and him being favourite initially was based on the fact that, you know, there was G-Land, there was Chopu, there was Pipeline, there was J-Bay, there was Margaret River, and you know, perhaps North Point, the box. And you look at all that and you go, yeah, you know, that's Jack Robinson territory.
Oh, 100%. He's just sort of built for that dream tour. And I think he's more inspired than ever, though, to prove the critics wrong about his small wave game. I think that's just the one area where everyone said, okay, he doesn't have the same X factor as he does in a slab. In a slab, if you're at the box right now, you're going, okay, it's over. He's the guy to beat. He's the favorite.
Oh, yeah, I mean, North Point.
Quick look at that one for Igarashi, and he steps off. Further down the line, Robinson coming off his second snap and looking for a finish. He'll clean that one up well to keep his lead out front. Did well in his heat before with Flores. When Jeremy had the best start, Jack had a beautiful frontside putt combo and wrapped it through the inside of the alley. That was really clever, and was able to get back in the driver's seat to ultimately get the win.
You know, I was looking at the draw and looking down and really looking forward to this heat. The first half of it's been kind of a dud. You know, neither of the guys have been able to, you know, get their teeth into this heat and put something on the board.
This one's still staying wide open as Jack's waiting for the score from that last left-hander. And Kanoa will hold priority out the back for a spot into the quarterfinals. Back for more action right after this. Get the perfect gift for the surfer in your life. Go to worldsurfleague.com to get your official 2021 Championship Tour merchandise. Let's check out some of the big heats in the quarterfinals as we look at the finals day bracket. Frederico Moraes will take on Ethan Ewing to kick things off, and Medina will have his hands full with his rookie named Morgan Siblick, who flexes against the big names on tour. Bottom half got some spots to fill up. Winner of this heat with Jack and Kanoa will take on Connor Coffin, and we'll see who ends up in that last heat. Remember, we still have to see Jordy Smith and Yago Dora hit the lineup, and Griffin Colapinto and Reef Hazelwood will be fighting it out in the last heat of the round of 16. Rolling in from West Oz, enjoying his time on the East Coast here. Big double grab punt from Jack Robinson. Can he fight through this cruel whitewater? And he will right out in front. So much height. Deserving a big score for that effort, Bugs.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting. I mean, he got high. He got super high, and he had to really wrestle with that whitewater. It took him a while to get out in front of it, but it just goes to show how important it is to get out in front of that whitewater, I guess.
It's proven that the whitewater in Narrabeen is cruel.
Yeah.
Not the easiest landing pad. What'd you think here?
Yeah, look how high he goes. He certainly, you know, made something out of nothing, that's for sure. And this is going to be interesting because he's got a 4.67, and Kanoa really has only got that 3.73, but this is just mega high.
Got a lot of extension. The wheelie air when you see the tail dropping, and two hands on the wheel with the double grab. I still think it looked really cool. This is the tough part, trying to show the judges that you've got it, because more often than not, they're calling it incomplete.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just went, I am sticking with this until I have to step off on dry sand.
So right there, they'll look at the nose of the board, and the good news for Jack, he gained momentum. Even though he had to use his arms to kind of pump and get more speed to ride away, that might affect the landing. And I think the clear explanation is when someone just greases it perfectly, that always needs to be rewarded. Like total control, perfect landing. It's almost like in skateboarding when a skateboarder lands on a ramp and they have a toe tap landing where toe hits the ground. They don't like that. That affects the score in a big way. In a similar way of riding out of the whitewater, if it takes 10 seconds to show you've got it, sometimes that'll dampen that score down. Signs of the number, it looks like a 4.93 for Jack, and probably just would have been a bit bigger if he landed out and just had total control. It wasn't his fault, though. The whitewater just dissipated under his feet.
Oh, no, it definitely would have been bigger.
Here comes Kanoa. Quick snap with a lot of water off the top. There's the backhand float. Clean two-turn combination.
Well, that's going to get him into the heat. I mean, he's only got that 3.73. He only needs a 5.87 after all that. I mean, we're down to under 10 minutes, so that's 20 minutes. And Kanoa hasn't even got a 4-point ride before that wave. So this is super. He's been super selective, and he has doggedly sat out the back. He has not been roving around like Jack Robinson.
There's that great timing for Igarashi, and then got to play with the float, little rock and roll float to finish. How'd you like the first turn?
Oh, it's really great. He's surfing. He's been so good. So even in Newcastle, he lost a close heat. He just looks so. His surfing is so tight, and he's got that, and he's just got that experience now. A 5.17, that really puts him into this heat. That's a highest wave score of the heat so far. He needed a 5.83, but 5.17. It's you know, this heat's on now because he only needs basically a 4.43.
Kanoa's now been on tour for a bit, and he's surfed in 13 championship tour rated events in this country, but he's never gotten into a quarterfinal here. Backside float for Igarashi, nice and clean. Blowtail covering a lot of water there.
Yeah, that's a very mystifying stat. you know, considering how long Kanoa's been here, how much his surfing suits our waves, that he's never made a quarterfinal.
Now he's got a shot here against Jack Robinson. Jack Robinson got his feet wet probably at the youngest age imaginable on the championship tour, when he got thrown a wild card when he was 13 at Karamas. And Kelly just kind of had his way with him there. And recently it's been really cool. Jack and Kelly have developed a really good friendship. They spent a lot of time surfing together this winter on the North Shore. Here comes Igarashi. Up and out. Yeah, those wild cards are fun for Jack because he had all that hype on him, and it was for good reason. The way he was approaching slabbing type waves, world-class waves. Won the Pipe Invitational. Has had a few showings in the Pipe Masters. But his best wild card was definitely 2019 when he comboed Felipe Toledo at the box.
Oh yeah, at the box, he is deadly.
And that is the next event on tour, going to Jack's backyard.
Jack's backyard and John Florence's comfort zone.
That is exactly right. Looking at the shaded names in the top 10, things are changing big time. Flores out, Kelly still injured. Ryan Callanan went down to a wild card named Reef Hazelwood earlier today. Toledo had that awkward heat, broken board after not catching a wave for the first half of the matchup.
Yeah, it's been a real shake-up, and there's Gabriel Medina just sliding through, but what a great performance he put in today.
Vertical snap from Kanoa Igarashi, carve. And he has to get out quickly, so not much on offer there. Still chasing a 4.43. And Jack watched the whole thing. See that a lot throughout the day. Sometimes you wonder, hey, is it good to look and watch your competitor surf, or just look out to the horizon? Jack was definitely interested in that last wave.
Yeah, it doesn't faze them. They like to see the spray. They like to see what the guy's doing, and you know, then they kind of make their own calculus.
5:20 on the clock. Stace, it looks like a lot of the lockers are clearing out at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this section of the Red Bull Athlete Zone, there's not too many surfboard left. I am standing here, and it's no surprise, I'm not with Italo Ferreira. He is off-site immediately. And I guess that's what comes with being a world champ. His passion is, we all feel it when he's on fire, and then we obviously saw it when the result didn't go his way. I loved what Luke Egan said, you can't win them all. But I just thought I'd sort of fill everyone in on there's a few different ways that these guys process their losses. We had Miguel Pupo yesterday sort of just sit in the water for about 3 hours, think about things, and then he went for a surf that afternoon. Italo, on the other hand, went full rock star and snapped his board. And, you know, different people process their losses different ways.
It's so true, Stay. So what was your take on the landing of Italo's full rotation? Were you giving that a make, or did you see it clearly as incomplete?
Well, I don't expect everyone to agree with me on this one, but I don't think he rides out of that. You know, I think the clear comment is if he stands up, would they pay it? And there's a reason why he didn't stand up. It's because he wasn't in control yet. Tried to keep riding it, and he was off his board. Incredible manoeuvre, huge score if he rides out cleanly, but on this occasion, it's a no for me.
I like the insight, Stace. Stace Galbraith, longtime coach, great surfer, longtime judge as well. And that's a clear description on the incomplete call on that full rotation. Stomped it in the flats, but you have to ride away with control. And these guys do these maneuvers so often, especially Italo, that they've seen big ones done so many times, so they have clear comparisons on riding away with control. We'll be talking about that one for a while. 3:30 to go. Robinson still has his lead, and Kanoa without priority will keep him guessing here and actually sells him a dud. Jack just up and out. So Kanoa doing a good job there to show interest in a flat wave.
Well, it was a good job, but Jack Robinson also by doing that, if there had been a good one behind it, Kanoa wouldn't have been in position for that either. So both of them, that was incredible cat and mouse. It was a last nanosecond that Jack Robinson committed to that wave, Joe, and you know, I mean, there was no harm done, but I thought it was an interesting little sequence where Jack Robinson, in the lead, trying to maintain that, trying to keep Kanoa off waves. He knows how dangerous he is. But now Kanoa's got priority. One of the reasons I think Jack might have pulled out too was in case Kanoa went over the falls or something.
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes those sell jobs for a dud wave, you can actually pull yourself out of position. So Jack read it well. Kick out quickly. Kanoa did end up winning priority, and the situation didn't change. So Kanoa just wanted to give himself a shot, and he was able to accomplish that.
And Kanoa's gone back to the outside peak with 2 minutes remaining, so he needs something to come his way. We can see a few lines, Joe.
That's right, Bugs. Look at this first one. Kanoa's going to paddle right over it. Looks like maybe a little better one starting to wedge up. Is he in the right spot?
Yeah, I think he is. Well, he's on the cushion.
He's trying to get there. That one's going to roll past as well.
This is the interesting one. It's got a lot of body in it. He's motoring over towards it. He's going to go this for sure.
Minute 30. Igarashi rolls into this wave. Backhand carve, chasing a 4-4-3 for a lead change. Another big backside hook. He'll carve off the top. Here's the bowl, and he knifes that lip line. What a great wave for Igarashi, still swinging. Fills in the gaps well at the end of the wave, and he's fired up.
No, and you know, he got it. Wow, he nailed that. Yeah, celebration.
He's proud of himself for a lot of reasons. Selling that wave to Jack gave himself a shot with priority where Robinson couldn't shut him down. Then he just got to be selective, chose the right wave, and belted it to pieces. 45 seconds. Pressure's now turned to Robinson.
And we've seen this a few times today, Joe, the selling and the movement of priority at a very critical stage in the dying minutes of a heat. And once again, whoever had priority got that wave.
So true, Bugs. 25 seconds. You're seeing the next heat paddle out. Jordy Smith and Yago Dora. Jack Robinson trying to get a big result, but also trying to catch up with Morgan Siblick in the Rookie of the Year race. Here's the drive. Alley-oop. Disconnected as Robinson, and Kanoa Igarashi will make the quarterfinals. For the first time in his career in Australia, Igarashi's now going to get the final wave, and a job well done. And it took a lot of waves too, Bugs. Kanoa had taken about 12 waves in that heat.
Yeah, he'd be happy with that. He's broken through.
And we'll lose Jack Robinson here in the round of 16. Here at the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic, presented by Corona. Setting up those quarterfinal matchups. Kanoa will be with Connor Coffin in the quarters. Jordy Smith, Yago Dora, followed by Colapinto and Reef Hazelwood to close out the day. Harvey Norman recap. We just saw the big double grab punt, that wheelie air. Jack was trying to make sure that he completed it. A mid-range score. And Kanoa's overall performance looked really sharp today.
Really sharp. The waves, he had to really, he struggled a little bit with the timing with the waves, but this wave here, what a great finish, Joe.
2 clean hooks, and it just kept getting better. Pulled up more, found the lip. It got nice and hollow, not once, but twice. Kind of a 2-for-1 on the bonus. And there's the celebration on the Harvey Norman recap. Igarashi in the finals day.
Welcome back to the show. A beautiful afternoon here on Sydney's Northern Beaches. This is the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic presented by Corona, and our quarterfinals are taking shape. Just one more matchup to establish as we move into the final two heats of the afternoon. But have a look at some of those head-to-head heats. It's going to be awesome, Rich.
Mate, this is going to be so exciting when we get into the quarterfinals. How about quarterfinal number 2, Ronnie? Gabriel Medina, who is, well, one of the informed surfers of the whole event of whole tour, and Morgan Siblick, the giant killer. Can he take another one down? And, well, Connor and Kanoa Igarashi, that's a great matchup as well, really even. And we've still got a couple more to drop in there.
We sure do. The waves really turned on this afternoon, just in time for some of the biggest heats. The world champs hit the lineup. And these two guys are going to go to war now. Jordy Smith will be up against Yago Dora. Jordy sitting in a good position with a lot of the guys above him on that leaderboard falling out of the mix. He can really solidify his place in that top 5. Everyone wants that finish on their way to the Rip Curl WSL finals in September. Yago Dora, though, he's been doing some of the most dynamic surfing of the contest so far. His airs have been spot on. And there's probably a good chance we'll see him take flight once again.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's his weapon. And it's going to serve him well up against Jordy Smith here, because we know Jordy, he's got the big turns. One of the tallest men on the tour, one of the most powerful, one with the best rail game as well. But Jordy can also go to the air, dropping down some of the most memorable clips over the last few years. One in particular, I remember that one he did down in the Western Australian area, and it was a huge air. Must have travelled about 15 feet.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's got the big airs. Love his rail surfing, though. It's helped him claim 6 championship tour victories. And he has surfed in a bunch of finals as well. 13 finals in total. Yago Dora still chasing his first championship tour final. Maybe he'll do it here at Narrabeen. Sitting in 15th position. A lot of surfers in the middle pack on the leaderboard. So, you know, you talk about a big opportunity for Jordy Smith, but Yago too. Just wanted to get to the top end before we get over there to stop number 4. And while we're at the break, Yago tapped into this one for a 3.67.
Yeah, it's exciting ride to start things off, and then Jordy up behind him, just keeping to the face. Some nice rail work on the first turn, but just pushing a little bit too hard on that second one and just overextending a little bit. But both these guys understand the seriousness of this matchup here. It really isn't till you get to those quarterfinals where you get those really good keeper results. That's where they want to be as a minimum. Up and riding, Yago Dora.
Yago just accelerating down the line. One thing in mind, that was a big ramp, but that wave just got hideous on the end section. Massively backwash affected, and he bailed out on it. Jordy lining one up, heading towards alley rights. He'll kick out too. So no big numbers on the board just yet as these guys get back to the takeoff zone. We're going to check in with another guest via the Boost mobile. Stay connected call. This is a Grammy-nominated artist, but, well, surf fans might remember him from his 121st place at the 2009 US Open. Yeah, Fish, good to see you, mate. Paul Fisher.
Yeah, Fish, how are you, brother?
I'm here, yes, the lads.
How you going, mate?
Mate, that was yeah, really good, mate. That's a compliment, actually. I don't think I ever got out of the round of 450. And you still had to surf 8 heats to get there.
No, I still keep your stat sheet in my bag, mate. 121st, the 2009 US Open. You actually got 97th the year before that. But, yeah, I like that result a little bit better.
Oh, that's so good. How are you, boys?
Going really well, mate. We've got Jordy Smith and Yago Dora up at the moment. Yago ripping into a nice carve there. And he'll look to bring this thing through to the inside, utilising his priority on that occasion. But Fisher, big afternoon that we've had, some huge upset results. And I know you follow the sport very closely. It's going to be an interesting race to that top 5 at the Rip Curl WSL finals.
Yeah, definitely, with Italo just then bowing out. I mean, that was a pretty big upset. And I'm not going to lie, I was going for him. I love watching that guy, just what he's doing out there at the moment. I mean, I lived in Narrabeen for a few years, and what he's doing on the end of that left is just, it's outrageous. You break your knees, your ankles, your neck, your back, everything. So what he's doing out there, I'm just like, wow. So, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer to see him go, but for Connor, it's also amazing to see Geordie smacking it, bang, get him go right there too. But yeah, just yeah, I guess for Connor, it's amazing to see that he gets through and lives another day and maybe could win the event.
All jokes aside, you had a really successful surfing career, obviously, and you do follow things closely, and you're in tune with what the judges' trends are. What did you think of the big air that Italo went for? Did you think he rode out, or did he need to stay in control a little bit longer?
Well, on the slow-mo cam, he definitely rode out of it. I mean, I'm not there to see it, but for me, I thought it was a make. He stood up and went for it. I guess the back of the whitewash caught up with him, and it slowed him down and overtook him. But for me, I thought that was a make. I don't know about anyone else, but like right here, as you can see it, he's going sky high, comes around, bang, and then look. I mean, I thought he buckled his ankle right there, but then somehow pulls it off as he does, and away he goes. I don't know. So, I mean, Stace was saying that he didn't make it, you know. So there's going to be a bit of controversy.
Oh,
I guess
for
with
sure.
Italo's airs, you know, he's got to make him super clean.
I was mentioning to Richie before we came on camera, he created his own precedent by always greasing landings and riding out and making sure of it. So in that respect, you know, it wasn't as clean as some of the makes that he's given us in the past, and maybe that was the comparison in the judge's mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought as well. I mean, obviously when he lands those things, it's clear as day. And so just then, I guess with a little stumble there with the whitewash, they weren't going to give it to him. But which is unfortunate, because sometimes I think if someone else was to do that air that wasn't, you know, doing those kind of airs, would they have given them the score? So I always think that too, you know what I mean? If it was like Morgan Siblig that done that, would they have given him the score? Who knows? So I guess it's unfair in that way for Italo, but I guess that's why he's so good at what he does. He's got to always stomp them clean for him to get the big scores.
Yeah, all hypotheticals at this stage, and that heat is in the bag. Italo's still going to be in a great position. Back to the heat in the lineup. Yago Dora having a look at this one, doesn't get into it. But this is a big opportunity for Geordie Smith now, Fisher. I know you're a huge fan of his surfing.
Laka laka machana. Yeah, I love Geordie. Feels like he's been on the tour since Bugs.
He has, mate. He's into his...
Mate, that guy's gone from the single fin to the twin fin to the three fin, mate. Oh,
Geordie can ride.
He was travelling with Sean Thompson back in the day.
Yeah, well, Geordie's got a great head-to-head record against both those guys, but he is into his 13th year on the championship tour. But what are your thoughts? Do you think he's looking better than he ever has before? Because that's kind of the rumour getting around.
I mean, he looks definitely like he wants it. He's super fit at the moment. I hung out with Geordie last year when I was in Cape Town, and he was hungry as for it. I mean, his surfing's amazing. You can't deny that. I just think he needs a bit of luck. Every time I watch Geordie, I'm always going for him, but I just feel like the ocean doesn't give it to him, or I don't know, he might slip off on one turn when he didn't need to slip off or something like that. But I mean, when the surfing's on, Geordie's as good as it gets. I mean, you guys have all seen it. Our Bells, J-Bay, even out in this kind of conditions, he can do everything. Airs, snaps, laybacks, you name it.
It's timeless, isn't it, Rich? Geordie's brand of surfing.
Yeah, it is. It's one that you can appreciate regardless of what wave he's on, whether he's on a 10-foot Sunset Peak or, you know, a long J-Bay wall, or even down here at Narrabeen in these little 3-foot, 4-foot punchy beach breaks. You know, he's got that type of surfing that can adapt. It's powerful. It's on rail. He can take to the air, and that's why he has been in that world title conversation, but he hasn't quite got there yet. So that missing ingredient, as we talked about, he's worked on the fitness, a change of boards as well this year, and maybe that's the one little thing that's been missing.
Yeah, one thing that people forget, though, is just how accomplished Geordie is in small waves. He had that victory in Rio back in 2013, a couple of wins at Trestles, not in big conditions. So, you know, for a bulky frame, he can swing it around.
No, yeah, he definitely can. He's got the big old elephant bum that just gets that thing cranking all over the joint. He's that good at it.
Oh, that laugh. Honestly, that should be the hooter to start heats, I reckon.
No, look, I love the way Geordie surfs. Always have. Like I said before, mate, he can surf 1 foot to 10 foot. And he's just missing that world title, and I hope that he can get one. Otherwise, he's the next Taj Burrow, isn't he? The one that never got it.
Yeah, what about Yago Dora? I mean, this is a guy that kind of came on the scene once you'd moved away and started working on your music, but have you watched him closely?
I love this guy's surfing. I mean, how's the heat he had this morning? He was just going sky high. I love the way he surfs. I always watch his parts on his Insta. And, yeah, I've seen him surf a bunch before. When I was in Hawaii, I seen him surf there a lot. And I was like, who is this guy? I mean, I've seen him because he stayed with the Vulcan guys in Hawaii. So that was the first time I actually caught wind of him. And, yeah, ever since then, I've been a fan. He's amazing. And I guess his dad coaches him, right? Is that correct? So he's got his dad coaching him, and he was coaching some of the boys on tour. So, yeah, I know a little bit about him. I definitely want to see more of him. I think he's got the talent to go places and far. I mean, he could win this event, no worries.
He sure could. He's up at the moment, loading up some speed. Ooh. And a bit of a closeout there. So that won't bank him a big number. The scores at the moment slightly working in Yago's favour. Geordie Smith needs a 2.57. And we'll bring in your good old mate Stace to the conversation.
Ronald, oh wow, this is extremely strange. Looking at Fisher on a massive screen. How are you, Fish?
I'm great, mate. How you doing?
I'm going good, buddy. Tried to get you on for that Italo one. Sorry, I was a bit late on the call up, but got your second biggest fan behind me here, Jadson. He's frothing that you're on, and he said to say g'day.
No worries. Stage 5 denial. Jadson, get the shaver on that head, mate. Got to know about that now. It's time to get rid of it. The Devon hanging out the back there. Rich will tell you all about that, let me tell you.
Who else you got, Fish? Who else you got your eyes on with the denial?
Oh, that's about... He sticks out like a dog's nuts, mate, on the camo Jadson with that. So.
Whip your hat off for us, Fish.
Yeah, I was about to say, mate.
What you're actually talking about here.
How's that front panel looking?
Yeah, look, mate, I'm actually running the Duke at the moment, so I'm half denial here.
that hair is drawn on for sure.
One of these.
15 and a half minutes to go in this heat. Yago Dora up again, chasing just something better than a 3.17 to get further ahead of Geordie Smith here. And we're having a lot of fun with Paul Fisher, former QS warrior.
Mate, I've been waiting years to get on this webcast. Are you kidding? They never even let me in the VIP section of this shit. I'm a sproffit.
Yeah, for good reason. For good reason. But we've got a classic heat. We're looking to decide our last quarter final. Fish, from what you've seen in this event so far, who's your pick to go on and take the victory?
Oh, well, you can't really go past Medina, can you? I really love the way Medina surfs. I feel like through round one, you just see him. So he gets his sixes, his fives. He's in first gear, and then when he really needs to put it into the third or fourth gear, he just steps it up and gets his 9 or his 8. He's just amazing. He can just turn it on whenever he wants, and he just looks so comfy. Like today, when I watched him, then I was just like, wow, this guy's just next level. And I'm scared to see what else he's got in the tank, because it's like, he's got more. Like when he was down in Newcastle in that final and he got the right, that one bottom turn in the snap that I seen, I was like blown away by that. Out of all the stuff they've been doing all day, I just couldn't believe how much speed he got off the bottom into that turn, and I was just like, wow, that board's just working. And it's good to see Kingy working with him and stuff like that, but Medina, I really like the way he surfs. So I'm a fan of all three of them, Toledo and Idolo and all those guys. But I mean, Sivlet's been taking down some big names, and that heat that he had before, he looked like knackers. Big Trent Munro on those left, just smashing the back out of it. So it was so good to see.
Oh, we're seeing what you're seeing. We're picking up what you're putting down, Fisher, and looking forward to your next release. You've been working on some new tracks for us.
I sure have. I just need to get on the road and get out there and crank them. I'm not letting those things out of the bag yet, mate. Not until I can get these kids dancing. But the COVID restrictions are easing up overseas, and hopefully next month I get to go over there and do my thing. And I mean, America's ready to go, so hopefully I can do that. But I haven't done it in over a year, so it'd be nice to get on the road again and play some music for people and have a bit of fun.
Mate, thank you for the laughs, and we can't wait for the release. Make sure you keep us up to date with what you got coming. Always good to catch up.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. Give us a call over the next few days. I really felt loved here. You know, AWSL, get us on there, mate.
Paul Fisher, ladies and gentlemen, one of Australia's finest music producers, and he's got some good new material that he wants to get into your ear holes very soon. But he is loving watching the surfing, a huge fan. 12 and a half minutes to go here, and Yago Dora's got a good looking set wave. A lot of speed to burn on this first section. Big transition turn there, loads up into the lip again. And he likes the feel of that. It's been hard to connect with a quality ride for these two competitors at the moment.
Yeah, I think at this point they are both looking for a wave that they can really connect on and open up. Yago's ridden 7 waves so far and nothing above a 3.67. So on that ride, you could see he wasn't overcommitting on the turns, and we'll see on the replay as it comes up on screen that the Yago just he hit the turns, but he kept the board sort of pointing down the line as he gains the speed here, hits the bottom, hits the lip, but keeps the board pointing down the line because he wanted to get to that second turn, and again didn't really get the fast redirection, didn't get much angle on the turn, so it's not going to go really high, but you just know that he wanted to get to the finish. He wanted to get some more points, and I think he's going to do better than his 3.67 on this one.
Well, Geordie was watching on that first turn. He just turned around and just went, oh, shame, eh?
Whatever, bro. It's all good.
Because I think Geordie will be relieved, though, when he hears the number drop, because even though they were explosive turns, they were kind of transition moves because he had to get going down the line. But Yago Dora's waiting on a number. It still might go into his top 2. He's going to make life a little bit harder for the South African here with 11 minutes remaining. You can hear some whistles down there on the beach. There could be some sets on the way here.
Yeah, this one's definitely heating up with just under 11 minutes to go. Still a bit of work to do for both our competitors, though.
We'll take a quick break here. 10.5 minutes to go. Dore out in front with Geordie Smith chasing.
The Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic presented by Corona is brought to you by Rip Curl, the ultimate surfing company. By Bonsoy, good, better, Bonsoy, the original and the best, frothing since 1983. By Bond University, stand out at Australia's #1 university for student experience. By BF Goodrich, the official tire of the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic. And by Oakberry, there is acai, and there is Oakberry, the official acai of WSL Australia.
Well, welcome back to the show. Just on 9 minutes remaining here in Heat 7, the round of 16. Looking for our last 2 quarterfinalists. Geordie Smith up against Yago Dora. And Yago has the lead at the moment. And an extremely committed finishing turn there. And he knows it's important that he rode out of that one. Geordie Smith making his way back out. He had a ride as well. We'll bring it to you in a second. But this has been a grindy heat so far, Rich. Really close.
Yeah, it has. There's no real major number on the board yet, and it's making these surfers just pull back a little bit. But let's see what Geordie did here. Look at that extension in the bottom turn. A quick snap, and he just got off balance there ever so slightly on that second turn, or before he went into the second turn. Here's what Yago Dora got done. Nice clean snap to finish things off. But again, Ron, just not overextending, but that second turn, that had more flair and more theatrics to it. You can see just a quick bottom turn off the top, gets the fast snap, but he sees down the line that he needs to get to this next section, eyeing it off. Look at the eye line there, just fixated on this lip, slams it, and now his eyes go to the landing. And it was quite turbulent. There was actually a couple little ribs on that thing right down the bottom of the trough. And he did well to ride out. Here goes Geordie.
Geordie swoops off the bottom. Great release out of that first manoeuvre. Lining up the end section. Again, very tricky down this end of the break. But Geordie hangs on to his finish this time. So going back and looking at the previous ride of Yago's, it was just a 3.97, that wave, where he bashed it a couple of times but had a down the line flow. So even though there was that speed and there was a release of some water, he didn't get very well ruled. He's up at the moment. There's a nicer combo, a bit more committed there.
Yeah, there you go. Just the strength of that first turn was really, really crisp and lots of speed. Flowed straight into the next one. Critical floater to finish things off. And, yep, he's really starting to heat up.
So he had a 3.97, then dropped a 5.17 on his previous ride. Has a number on the way for that last one. And you get the feeling the 3.97 is going to go out the door. And the requirement's going to get a little larger for Geordie here.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it's going to be right in the neighbourhood of that 5 again. It might be a little bit better just on the strength of the first turn where he got that cleaner slice. He just filleted the top of that wave straight off and then went into the second turn. A good looking wave here to take off on. Watch him pressing on those fins, slicing into that one, and a very critical floater to finish things off. Maybe not as big on the last turn, but the first turn was better.
Sometimes in such a short amount of space, you don't get to overcommit to the turn, but it's just such great surfing to be able to fit in two sizey manoeuvres on this ride.
Yeah, and I think for the judges, it would have looked impressive the first turn with all the spray, and then the big dramatic finish as he comes down with the lip. And he was happy. There's a little bit of emotion there, and this was Geordie. Great extension off the first turn, just blasted off the top. And then got a little caught up here, right, and then didn't. I feel like he wanted to get to the air on the final turn, but just had to go for the projection floater.
Yeah, two of the great styles on the championship tour. Geordie Smith, 3.53. It was really all on that first manoeuvre. Just, as you said, just great extension, pushed a lot of water and gained speed out of that turn. But Yago Dora wins the exchange. A 6-point ride for that quick combo in a short period of space. He really fit those turns in beautifully.
Yeah, he did, and well, that's one of the advantages of this guy on his forehand. He's able to fit those turns in really quickly, which is actually a hard thing to do on your forehand.
Well, Geordie loading up for the reverse. Oh. I think he maybe lost his back foot there for a second. Regained control, but just couldn't get out of that white water as Yago just looks to increase his lead and really put the pressure on Geordie coming into the final stages here. Another clean combo, trying to get rid of a 5.17.
Well, we got it on the head, Ron, with the score, the 6.0, bettered his position ever so slightly. And then again, I think there's going to be another decent number for that last one as well.
That backwash is radical out there at the moment. You think to the middle of this round and the scores that we were seeing dropped. We had clean canvases for the surfers. There wasn't those really tricky sections to read, and the end section was a little more forgiving. Now the tide's changed a bit. It is thundering on that sandbar, and we saw Yago then actually getting a free ride out into the lineup, riding a wave back through the break.
Yeah, that tide has drained right out again, and that's creating these crunching end sections. And you can see that top part of the screen there where the northern bank is really starting to get exposed. You can see the whitewater line, so the wave's breaking right out there. But the thing is that there's not much wall on those ones right out the back now.
Bit of sound travelling out into the lineup from the beach, Dimity, but also some backwash coming back your way.
Yeah, that is causing some serious troubles for the boys. You see their completion rate's just been so low, and it's due to this tide's come in so much. The backwash is literally sending 2-foot waves back at them. And another thing is the wind coming from the north. It's pretty strong, but then it stops and it comes offshore again. So saw Yago lose his board on one of those air attempts, so it's pretty tricky this afternoon.
Yeah, not really able to rely on his weapons out there. It's a good pickup, but that backwash is making, you know, what would normally be pretty easy moves like floaters and re-entries on those end sections really difficult, and the surfers having to pay very close attention to all those details on those finishing turns.
Yeah, the canvases are a little messed up and muddled up at the moment, and a great point that Dimity made is that with this nor'easterly wind, you can start to see these ribs starting to form through the wave, especially on the left-hander here. And it's just making these surfers go back to the drawing board a little bit, and making it hard to keep that momentum and that flow going down the line.
One of the great things about North Narrabeen is it does provide great protection from those winds, and as a result we still have pretty clean faces that the surfers get to deal with. They've got to surf their way between the backwash and those ribs, but there is still going to be the opportunities for high-quality surfing as Geordie loads up and goes to the air. Monstrous flip. Can't ride out. An inverted reverse. And Geordie has pulled plenty of those in the past. But on that occasion, just couldn't get back out in front of that wedging section.
Wow, if he had made that, that could have gone anywhere right up into the 9s, maybe even 10s. Let's check out what went wrong. He's going to get a great photo moment here. Look at that little oncoming fluffy section. Takes to the air, the double grab, does the flip rotation. And, well, he nearly had the landing. His feet were perhaps just a fraction too close together, and I can't even believe I'm trying to scrutinise the technique there. But, you know, Geordie did so well to even get back into that landing position.
That was a side-winding piece of whitewater that offered that big ramp, but as a result of it coming at the angle, when he was coming down there wasn't that straight whitewater line to land on. So, unfortunate there for Geordie. As Yago looks to shut this heat down, goes the big tail throw reverse, doesn't ride out, so the requirement remains the same for Smith. 7.16 is what he's after. He rides out of that last turn. He has the lead going into the final stages here.
Absolutely. Would have been all over that 7.16, and I think Geordie's just going to wait for those little right-hand ramps now. I think he's starting to just go, yep, I'm just going to take to the air, do this in one big turn, because he hasn't had much luck on the left so far.
You know, like Dimity said, with that wind, if you try and take to the air now, your board's going to try and blow away from you on the rights. It'll stick to your feet. And Geordie just needs that opportunity. That would have felt good. Technique-wise, it was all there. So give him another shot at it, and he just might stick it. But I just can't see any sizey swell lines rolling our way.
No, the ocean looking a little flat with 20 seconds to go. Geordie does have priority, though. And this one might just slip away. This has been such an interesting round. And a lot of the favourites, a lot of people's fantasy surfer picks have just been decimated through this round. And it's created havoc, and it's created a really interesting quarterfinals for us, Ronnie, because we're going to potentially get maybe someone who hasn't had many or even a win, and we may see a first-time champion.
Yago Dora getting the job done here in what was a tough heat. He rode 13 waves in total and managed a heat score of 11.43 against Geordie. As we dive into the Harvey Norman recap, Smith looking stylish as ever, Rich, but just couldn't connect with a wave that gave him big combo opportunities.
Yeah, well, that was a great wave for Geordie, and he got some great work done on that, but it was Yago who really started building through the back half of the heat, riding a lot of waves, focused all of his attention on these end lefts, and he's just started to wind up, and with each wave he got better and better, more critical, pushing harder and harder, and funnily enough, didn't really need to take to the air to get this one done.
No, he just found those big high impact sections, and he is charging on through to the quarterfinals. When we return, we'll see Griffin Colapinto and Reef Hazelwood hit the lineup. Welcome back to the Rip Curl Narrabeen Classic presented by Corona. We're into the last heat of the day. Only one quarterfinal spot left up for grabs. Who is going to march through to take that position and take on Yago Dora in quarterfinal number 4? Griffin Colapinto or Reef Hazelwood? Ronnie Blakey with Richie Lovett. Rich, what's your thoughts? Who's going to get it done here?
This is a really interesting matchup, and if the wind had stayed light and variable, slightly offshore, I may have given the nod to Reef Hazelwood, but at the moment I feel like Griff's just in a really good place with his surfing, and I think he's going to get the nod in this one.
Both these guys are pretty accomplished above the lip. And I don't know, I think in the last heat we saw a demonstration of what being strong above the lip can do for you when you're trying to land manoeuvres on that tricky end section. There's an element of weightlessness, of compression, and getting nice and low, so you've got control riding out of those final manoeuvres when it's punchy like this, that as an aerialist might give you an edge.
Yeah, it could do, absolutely, and both these guys are incredibly capable in the air, but in terms of face work and strength of single manoeuvres of critical nature, I think I'm just going to give the edge to Griffin in this instance.
It's going to be a good heat, that's for sure. Looking at the way the quarterfinals are taking shape, there is a great chance that we'll see someone chasing their first championship tour win. Only 2 CT winners left in the mix. And, well, that makes them the favourites, Gabriel Medina and Kanoa Igarashi. But everyone else in the contest is chasing their first championship tour win. So, you know, a lot on the line for all the remaining competitors.
It's a really exciting proposition for our surfers that are in the quarterfinals, because all of a sudden you go, okay, I've made finals day and there's 8 surfers left and I've got a pretty good chance of making the final. So, you know, maybe it's going to be tomorrow. We're not too sure yet, but perhaps we'll see a dream come true for one of our competitors who haven't got the trophy on the mantelpiece yet.
Usually, if you're a surfer that hasn't had a CT win, it is a minefield, the quarterfinals of former event champs and world champions, but not the case at Narrabeen. So many upsets, and we'll be breaking them all down in the WSL Corona Post Show this afternoon with Joe, yourself, Rich, and Stay stepping in to the Harvey Norman set to have a look at all the highlights and shocker results. And there was some interesting reactions too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, some people's fantasy surfers teams, mine included, and I think yours as well, have been absolutely decimated today. And I think I've only got 1 or 2 left. But anyway, it's back to the drawing board on that one. But I feel excited for these quarterfinals, and I just think that the opportunity for these you know, the up-and-comers and the crew that haven't really been in the spotlight or in the spotlight on a consistent basis, they're going to get their chance tomorrow.
Yeah, well, your head was monstrous after that last event. You easily smashed the rest of the commentary team, but it's been a real crash back down to earth, Rich, from those lofty heights at this venue. I know I'm not much better here at Narrabeen. I might even be worse, but yeah, it's good to see you trip up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. But there's always Western Australia, and this ain't over yet.
It's going to be a good battle. Interesting just looking at the heat score totals throughout the day. I think it said a lot about the conditions, and Narrabeen, it's, you know, obviously holds good form through the tide, high tide and low tide, but the conditions change. And if you're watching and investing too much in what the conditions look like at the time, you might find yourself just a little out of sorts out here as we see Reef Hazelwood, a wild card, who knows how to get the job done against a big name. Just a beautiful roundhouse there, really banking off the foam hard and bashes the pocket of this wave. This has been a really well put together ride, and he gets the finish there.
That is some great surfing right there. And he might make me eat my words about the face work and giving the Griff the nod here, because that was just sensational surfing from start to finish on that wave. A little bit of a tussle too, a little paddle game going on there before Reef stood off on that one. And you could see Griffin just trying to nuzzle him in underneath. But Reef was in the perfect spot there.
How good to see a big roundhouse too.
Oh, I love it. So you can see, look, Griff was just chasing, or trying to get the inside. But Reef, a late takeoff up and over the foam, comes out of it with a lot of speed, and this long, stretched out roundhouse re-entry, and pounds the foam. Gets control again, a nice clean snap, drifts the fins, and this finishing turn there. He could have gone to the air, Ron, but he just opted to put a nice finishing turn on it. Takes the risk factor down a little bit, gets the completion, and puts a nice score on the board. advantage to Reef Hazelwood.
Yeah, I love this cutback. He laid it over so hard and really just generated great speed throughout. The rebound was strong too.
Oh, that was just beautiful technique with the back arm, the eyes, the forward, the top body following, you know, governing where the rail was going, and then the lower body following, driving off the rail, driving off the fins. Could watch that over and over again.
It was great having Brad Gerlach in the booth with us, and he was touching on, you know, not getting ahead of yourself when you're on a ride or you connect with a good wave, and it just felt like Reef surfed that ride so perfectly, just really read the tempo of the wave beautifully.
And he turned that sort of flatter section where there wasn't a big standing up moment where he could do a snap into a really dynamic part of the wave, and a very functional turn. And the way he hit the foam too, he just didn't tap off the foam. He actually kind of hit the foam and did a backhand hook off it. And that's a really difficult thing to do, is keep control in that moment.
So many of these kind of dark horses moving through the rounds at this event are pushing their performance to another level, knowing that they've got to step it up. And Reef is doing that now. Another brilliant start to this wave. A couple of big hits on the outside. This one's going to split in half and fade away. He's going to get out of there. But it'll still be a decent score. A couple of big hits there.
He looks good, doesn't he? And you think back to the morning heats. Seemed like a week ago now when we were watching Reef and Griff in their morning heats today, and it's a totally different playing field right now. Conditions have changed somewhat. Let's have a look at the replay here. So Reef takes off, and he got a couple of nice turns here. Snaps it cleanly off. Look at the compression as he gets right up off the lip, and he's able to just drive through it. He looks energetic. Looks like he's been maybe home just taking a breather, taking it all in. It can be a long day if you stay down at the beach.
Well, Reef's gone as high as 29th before on the qualifying series. That was back in 2018. But Dimity, we're always so focused on the Championship Tour surfers and what they're doing with the break in 2020. But it looks like Reef's put in a lot of hard work as well.
Yeah, he's so fired up. I saw him on that last wave. He just came off it and was bouncing. And yeah, he's not looking like a wild card, is he? He's just got so much, yeah, aggression, and just knows what he wants, and he wants to win this heat. And it's cool because he's got some of the best free surfing clips that I've seen this year.
Yeah, he is a remarkable talent. We're waiting on that second score to drop in. And Dimity very aware of Reef Hazelwood surfing, hailing from the Sunshine Coast originally. And yeah, I can see the scores coming through now, 4.83. So Griffin Colapinto up against it. Now, Griffin would go into a lot of heats in the Championship Tour in this kind of round ridge, coming up against guys who are above him on the leaderboard. But in this particular heat, he's the guy being hunted. Reef is the predator, trying to track him down, and he's doing a great job at the moment. Anytime you're the wild card coming in, you want to apply pressure to a more experienced rival early on.
Yeah, he's really started well in this heat, and its advantage goes to Reef at the moment with 2 scores on the board. And have a look at this. He's just hunting under priority because he knows now he can go to that air and put even more pressure on him. Let's check this one out.
Doesn't even need the airs at the moment, the way he's surfing. Just great timing again. Just the single turn, but it's on edge. It's explosive. The fins are above the lip. It won't go into his top 2, but still, it's impressive stuff.
I like where he's going. I like what he's doing. I like how he's keeping active, and he's just putting scores on, and he's got Griff thinking, what's this kid doing? You know, what's going on here? And Griff's thinking, okay, there's a 6-8, there's a 4. The guy's got nearly 12 points total already on me. I've got to start getting into this heat.
Let's talk scary wildcards. We've seen plenty of them throughout the history of the sport. Your favourite wildcard performance that you've seen?
Put me on the spot there, Ron. I think some of the wildcards that have come into Tahiti at times in the Chopu event, Manoa Drolet, I think, came in a few times and upset some big names. And that's a real location where that local knowledge and that confidence at such a heavy reef break pays dividends. And, you know, out here it's a little bit different, but on the reef breaks we've seen some amazing performances.
Yeah, that's a good point. Manoa Drolet got a second to Bruno Santos in a final, both wildcards. And that was a shock for the Championship Tour. Johnny Boy Gomes and Michael Ho back in the day took wildcards right through to the final. Got a victory in the Pipe Masters. But Reef Hazelwood's proven to be a dangerous wildcard in the past. Sean Holmes springs to mind. Him at J-Bay.
Of course.
He was a real headache for Andy Irons. But we'll see how far Reef can take this role at the moment. 17.5 minutes to go ahead of Griffin Colapinto. Let's hear from Iago Dore. He's through to the quarterfinals.
I'm here with the king of after-school care, Iago. You're the champion of the kids, mate. How good's that?
Yeah, it's good. I love the energy they give me, and I feed off that, I think, and I'm willing to give them all my attention, so I'll give them my time for sure.
Yeah, that's very kind of you, and a note to all the other surfers on the men and women tour. You guys are all very giving of your time, and I know all the fans here really appreciate that, so good on you, and I know they love hanging out with you. You got a 9th up in Newcastle, you've done one better here, and you're still in the event. What's it going to take to go all the way on finals day?
Yeah, that was a really tough hit right there. I felt for a long time that I was going to lose that one, and fortunately on the end I kind of got into a rhythm, but it's a lot different than this morning out there. I rode the same board and it felt a bit too loose, I think, and for a moment I thought of coming in and changing, but I was like, oh, I'm going to stick to this one and I'll try again, and then my next wave was all right, so I kept this one, and I'm just so happy to make it. Jordy, he's amazing. He's such a tough competitor, and he knows the game so well, and he plays everything perfect, and I was just lucky, I guess, to get better waves.
Would you change your board or your fins if you wanted to make your board a bit stiffer? What kind of adjustments will you make?
Yeah, this is a small wave board. It's a sub driver, 510. I usually ride 6.0s, and I'll probably, right now I should have rolled my 6.0, but this one did the job, so that's good.
It certainly looked okay from here, but I guess you'll make those preparations going into finals day, which could be any day soon. We'll wake up tomorrow and see. Thanks for your time, Iago.
Yeah, thank you, Stace.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Stace. Yeah, Iago Dore, like a lot of the competitors, feeling at times like they didn't need to drop their board down. That Narrabeen's got plenty of push, and the swell jumped a little bit this afternoon.
Yeah, sure did. We had the signs of that new swell that came in, and tomorrow as well. It looks like it's going to hang around. Of course, we'll wait for the call in the morning. But that easterly direction started to sneak in, and that's what's splitting these swell lines up. It's the combination of the new and the old swell, which has been exciting for everyone. There's been so much good action down here today, and we're so stoked that Narrabeen has produced the action. But yeah, we had Connor Coffin in here this morning, and he actually just, you know, confirmed just how powerful it is out here. And you can sometimes take it for granted looking at the screen, but it's something that our surfers have confirmed for us time and time again. And sometimes you don't need that small wave board, even when it is only sort of head high.
Third time that we've seen Reef Hazelwood in a championship tour event. His best result was a 9th, so that was on the Gold Coast 2019 in that run that saw him dispose of Julian Wilson. But Seth Moniz was too strong for him in this same round then, so he's trying to crack the quarters for the first time. Griffin Colapinto, his best result as a championship tour competitor is semi-final finishes. He's had a few of those. But he'd love to get a shot at a championship tour win. His surfing is so worthy of a podium.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And I think everyone into the quarterfinals, there's some really good names there that you can identify and go, I can see him in the final. He deserves to be there. And now with some of those bigger names out of the draw, the opportunities there. And I was just thinking back to, you know, waking up on a potential finals day. If you haven't been there that much, I don't think it's a bad thing to just let that little seed of maybe I can make the final, maybe I can get a win here. I think if you plant that seed way back there, don't let it grow too much, and it might just be you.
And we could be on the eve of finals day. Stace mentioned it. We'll get down here nice and early tomorrow, have a look at the conditions. If it looks anything like this, it's going to be hard to turn our back on there. It's been a fun afternoon, especially that around the 2 o'clock when those big heats were hitting the lineup. It was on, just really wedgy and just begging for huge manoeuvres. 13 minutes remaining here. Reef Hazelwood out in front. Griffin Colapinto with priority, chasing a 2-wave total of 11.33. Welcome back to the show. We've been touching on the last time we saw Reef Hazelwood. It was on the Gold Coast and at Bells in 2019. He had some great performances in the main event, but at the Red Bull Airborne contest, he threw down some huge lofty airs, finished second to Italo in that battle. And he's brought some of those big airs to get heat wins earlier on in the contest. But today, he's just kept his board in the water. And he's laid down some great turns, Rich. A 6.5, his opener, it was a fantastic ride, multiple manoeuvres, a lot of variation, and he's backed it up with a 4.83.
Yeah, he's in a good position now, just on 11 minutes to go, and he's put a bit of pressure on Griff, but Griff bounced back here. Ron, and a good-looking wave from the takeoff, just jams the first turn, comes right around down the line, hits that second one, a beautiful turn, nice and critical, and a third and a fourth all the way through. He milked this one for every little bit of potential, and getting that final little hit there. But those opening turns really, really nice. I love this sky angle.
Yeah, really enjoyed that combo here.
Yeah, that second turn was really, really nice. The third one as well. And again, lots of variety on that turn. Didn't need to take it to the air. Just watch the speed at which he zings out of this thing. Just cuts through the lip. Doesn't overcommit. Keeps the board going down the line because he didn't want to miss this part here. A quick sort of three-quarter way down the face, bottom turn, and that one there was a bit more dynamic, put a bit into it, drifting the fins, and then driving right around that back fin, just pushing as hard as he can to get back into the whitewash.
He was squaring up so nicely off the bottom on each of those turns, and there was actually a few bumps that he had to negotiate on that first manoeuvre and into that big combo, the second and third turn. He's just got himself a 5.27, now needs a 6.07 to get himself into.
Yeah, well, the heat's opened up a little bit now, and it's not a huge score that he needs. And that was an important ride for Griff. If he left it any longer, the pressure was really going to start building, especially if Reef can get rid of that 4, then it was going to be looking like doomsday. And well, Reef's back. Griffin's back in it now.
Yeah, that conversion after you've sat with priority for a long period of time. We've seen so many surfers, you know, not make great use of it. When they finally elect to take a ride and try and get themselves into the heat, that was really well composed without surfing safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an interesting turn of events here, Ron. You can see Reef just coming down to join Griffin. He's not prepared to let him sit on any part of the bank by himself. So he's just going, okay, you know what? I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you. No matter what we're doing, I'm not going to let you get away. I'm going to mix it with you.
Yeah, he faded away a little bit in 2019 on the qualifying series, Reef Hazelwood. But, I mean, the surfing that we're seeing him do here is worthy. And he's also got those big airs. So, you know, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him make the grade on the championship tour. Mentioned that before. He's gone as high as 29th before. And really that year, 2018, he had a breakout winter on the North Shore. He was doing huge airs. He was getting stuck into some of the bigger conditions. We've got a nice little tussle happening out here.
We do indeed. And, well, Reef's not giving Griffin an inch at all. Well, he's going to let him take this one because he doesn't think there's too much scoring potential. But watch this. Takes to the air. Griff gets the spin. That was a little... I don't know whether that was a mistake or not, but if Griff landed that, then that was going to be a pretty decent score. A little bit of cat and mouse, definitely.
Well, his board just flickered in the wind just ever so slightly. It kind of threw him off.
Well, in the morning, we had a wind that was sort of coming back at the surface here. So right there, the wind's blowing away from his board, and it just sort of came off his feet. Really hard to regain control once you lose that connection.
7.5 minutes remaining here. And Reef just staying staunch out there with priority. These guys are right in each other's faces.
Yeah, this is a good little tussle. And just goes to show you how determined these guys are. They're not really, the wild card's not really giving any room for his more established rival.
Griffin Colapinto doing a bit of work with Tom Whitaker. Tom kind of picked up a few people from Jake Patterson's stable, but Jake's still in contact with Griffin, getting him amped up for these events. Griff having a look at this one, quite a few ugly looking lumps moving through the face of that wave. He opted out of it.
Yeah, it's this surface wind from the northeast that's really starting to break the line of the swell up, and we're getting these ribs coming through the wave. Griff up and riding.
He's got big frontside airs he can call on. Opts not to hit that section, finding a bit of space between himself and Reef out in this lineup. But Jake Patterson has huge raps on Griffin. You travelled with Jake on the championship tour for a number of years, Rich. There's not too many people as competitive and as sharp a competitor as Jake Patterson.
No, he was definitely one of the all-time greatest competitors on the tour. As we see Griff again having another go at it.
Yeah, getting his reps up with these backside reverses. He's going to stick that one. And he celebrates. And it feels good. Just gets so inverted. And he really did have to project out and get that board pointed into the wind. He was so close to making the previous effort. It'll be interesting to see where the judges go with this one. It was a bit of a smaller wave, but there's no denying that was an incredibly technical air.
Oh, that was amazing. And Griff was just trying to get away from Reef there, who had priority. Griff was like, leave me alone, just let me get a wave. And he's done just that, under priority. Reef not wanting it. And Griff just... It's amazing the projection he got off that wave with hardly any speed at all. That wave was basically closing out when he took off. And just look, 2 mini pumps, and then he gets that lofty pop straight off out into the flats, gets the rotation, and look at the celebration here. The board pointing to the sand right there. Fins are showing.
Whoa.
Gets about a 3/4 landing, but only in a split millisecond he's able to bring the nose back towards the shore. And wow, he just basically manifested that air from a tiny little wave.
Unbelievable stuff. Under priority. And the numbers in. A 7-point ride for Colapinto. He rockets into the lead. Reef Hazelwood now chasing a 5.78. And the final 5 minutes could turn into an air show. But Griffin, well, that'll make Jake proud.
Yeah, getting back to that, Jake is just, you know, he was one of the most tenacious, dogmatic competitors on the tour. And he really used that to his advantage in many occasions. You know, he's got wins at Pipeline, J-Bay, Sunset, an incredible trophy cabinet at home. And he's been passing all that knowledge on to Griffin, who you said earlier in the broadcast, Ron, that he was like a sponge, just took all that knowledge in, and he's looking again. Here he goes, staying busy.
What a turnaround. Because Reef was really putting the pressure on, not just on the scoreboard, but in the lineup with priority.
Yeah, absolutely. He was actually just bullying Griffin for a while there, but Griff was able to get away. Not an easy thing to do, mate, is get a wave under someone with priority and turn it into a score. We saw Morgan do it with John, and we've seen Griffin do it with Reef here. Reef will sort of be maybe kicking himself a bit, going, I possibly should have gone that wave and done one of my big frontside airs. And I wouldn't be in this predicament right now.
3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. And Griffin up again, eyeing off this section. Tries to bash the fins free there, gets a little caught up, so bails on that ride. Reef's got a hope for an opportunity now. We know he's got that amazing strike rate, but he's kind of been dictating terms. He hasn't been chasing big numbers yet. And, you know, he's so capable of turning in a 5.78 with a single turn. But I think with a potential quarterfinal spot on the line, there's a different kind of pressure now that's coming with that number.
Yeah, there is. When you're actually up against it and you've got to produce an actual score with only 3 minutes to go, he is up against it. The boys were having a little laugh out there about it, and then Reef quickly shook it off and went, hang on a minute, put the game face back on, checks his watch there, and now hunting for the opportunity. Needs that 5.78, and it's not a huge score. He's been dropping those big numbers this morning. He's dropped a couple of decent numbers today in this heat.
Well, Griff wants to keep on improving on his results. 17th at the Pipe Masters after such a stellar free surfing performance over in Hawaii at the end of last year. He really was one of the guys that we had pegged for a huge finish at the Pipe Masters, but he fell out of the mix early to Pedersen Crisanto, and I'm sure in his mind he was going, that was such an opportunity lost, because Pedersen, full credit to him, he had a real bulldog attitude out there, but Griffin showed much greater potential in the lead up to that event. a 9th place finish to Italo up at Newcastle. He wants to get into the quarters now and keep moving up this leaderboard.
Yeah, he sure does, and he needs to start making those quarterfinals consistently as well. And, well, this one's coming down to the wire here. You can see Reef Hazelwood just asking for the time. Has a couple of lines here, Ron.
1 minute 30 seconds to go. And Reef Hazelwood trying to hustle into position here. This might be his last shot at it. Needs a 5.78. Kicking hard. Paddling into this one. Using his priority. This will be it. Loading up some speed. This wave getting away from him. It's going to shut down. Griffin Colapinto is going to get priority and be holding the lead in the final minute of this heat. And here he comes. He has to cover Reef.
He has to. This is just a blocking technique here that you can do with priority. He needs to get right next to Reef Hazelwood, and it doesn't look like there's much coming in the way of sets. So Reef's about to get a new best mate. Griffin's just going to block him out here with priority. Wow, didn't see that one. How's the turn? That was great from Griffin, being able to turn the momentum of that heat, and he did it all by forcing that wave under priority and really going for that high-risk turn. Amazing stuff from Griffin.
That's the advantage of having that big, high-risk manoeuvre that you can call on when you're up against it in a situation like this, in short, punchy beach breaks. Griffin Colapinto kept his cool and snags himself a 7-point ride to get the lead. And Reef Hazelwood, he used his priority on a wave that he thought would give him just one ramp to throw one of his own airs. He puts his hands together. Great sportsmanship on show between these competitors. Griffin saying, thank you very much. I'll take that. Into the quarterfinals for the first time this year as we dive into the Harvey Norman recap. In the opening stages, it was all going Reef Hazelwood's way.
Well, it was his first 2 waves, but Griff started chipping away at this one, looking really good on his backhand, just so deep on the bottom, so really critical off the top, surfing each wave for every last point. Rode this one all the way, just about stepped off on the shore. But it was Reef who started well. Have a look at this, up and over the foam, and just check the rail work on this roundhouse cutback. All the way around, slams off the whitewater. And then got some great face turns here as well. Clean snaps. Geez, he looked good on the face. And we didn't seem to go to the air like we did this morning. But it was Griff who got this one under his priority, took to the air, hucks it out into the flats. And that was all she wrote, just a grindy comeback. And hats off to Griff for turning the heat around. That one feels real good.
So inverted, incredible projection, and just great to watch. And Dimity's with Griffin now.
You managed to turn it there. How did that feel?
Oh, it felt amazing. It was a weird situation. I don't think like 2 or 3 waves in that heat, and I waited so long, and he started off super strong. And I mean, a 6.5 is like an 8.5 today, so I knew. I don't know what I knew actually. I was just like blanking out there. Just had this strong feeling deep down that it was gonna work out. Like I had no nerves, nothing like that, and. I tried the air on the one before the one I made, and the board like stuck to my feet for a few seconds. I was like, you know what? I think I could actually maybe pull one of these. The wind's not in my favor, but the way it felt on the one before my board, I was like, whoa, this thing's sticking. Like I got so much wax on here. And so then I had the next opportunity. It was a small wave, and I was like, you know, I was just gonna try it, you know. And yeah, I just pulled it like super clean, and I actually surprised myself because, I mean, the wind's going behind my back. It's like to be able to do that, it's pretty rare. And I made it happen, and it's like, I don't know, super happy.
So cool. And how does it feel to be in the quarterfinals?
It feels amazing. I haven't made this far in a contest. Oh, well, the Pipe Masters last year, I made the semi, so the fourth event left, yeah. So yeah, I'm super stoked.
So entertaining. Thanks, Griff. Good luck in the next one.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dimity. Griffin Colapinto into the quarterfinals for the first time this season. What a performance. What an air. Looking forward to seeing all the highlights and reviewing all the big upsets, some massive results. We've got the WSL Corona Post Show just around the corner with Joey, Rich and Stace.